Have you ever wondered if your thoughts are truly your own, or if they could be manipulated by outside forces? This is the enigma that is mind control, a concept shrouded in mystery and intrigue, often dismissed as the stuff of science fiction or conspiracy theory. Yet mind control has a long and storied history, its roots reaching back to the dawn of human civilization. In ancient times, mind control was synonymous with hypnosis. The Greeks and Egyptians, for instance, used hypnotic states in their healing rituals, believing that they could influence a person's thoughts and behaviors by tapping into their subconscious. This was, in its own way, an early form of mind control, though far removed from the sophisticated techniques we associate with the term today. Fast forward to the 19th and 20th centuries, a time when interest in mind control surged. This was an era of rapid technological and scientific advancement, where the lines between science and pseudoscience often blurred. Psychology, a relatively new field, was ripe for exploration and exploitation. Many believed that the human mind, like a machine, could be programmed, manipulated, and controlled. This belief gave rise to a slew of experiments, some ethical, others far from it. Hypnotism became a popular field of study, with practitioners claiming they could cure ailments, alter behaviors, and even implant false memories. Meanwhile, the advent of electronic devices led to theories about brainwave manipulation and mind control through technology. Yet it is in the shadows where the most chilling tales of mind control emerge. Rumors of government experiments, whispered in hushed tones, paint a picture of a world where nothing is as it seems. These stories, often dismissed as mere conspiracy theories, nonetheless raise unsettling questions about the extent to which our thoughts and actions can be influenced by external forces. As we journey through time, we'll encounter the shadowy world of government experiments and their astonishing implications. But remember, as we delve deeper into the enigma of mind control, the line between reality and fiction may become increasingly blurred. So keep an open mind, but don't let anyone else control it. The 20th century marked the onset of a new age, an age of government experiments shrouded in secrecy. As the world was swept up in a tide of technological advancements and scientific breakthroughs, a more clandestine narrative was unfolding behind the scenes. The Cold War era, a time of intense geopolitical tension, served as the backdrop for this covert narrative. Nations around the globe, gripped by the fear of a nuclear catastrophe, were locked in a race not just for weapons but for control. But this wasn't only about physical control, it was about psychological control too. The mind, it seemed, had become another battlefield. It was during these icy times that governments, both in the East and the West, began investing in secret projects that delved into the human psyche. The goal? To find ways of manipulating the human mind, bending it to their will. It was a quest driven by fear and paranoia. Fear that the enemy might unlock the secrets of the mind first. Paranoia that they might already have. And so, in clandestine labs hidden from public view, experiments were conducted. Experiments that pushed the boundaries of ethics and morality. These projects, with their cryptic code names, sought to unlock the mind's deepest secrets. They explored hypnosis, drugs, and other psychological techniques, all in an attempt to master the art of mind control. These were not just the whims of mad scientists. These were state-sponsored initiatives, approved at the highest levels. The stakes were high, and the costs, both human and financial, were staggering. Yet they remained hidden, their existence denied by those in power. But as the saying goes, the truth will out. And so, these experiments, conducted in the shadows, would soon come to light, sending shockwaves around the world. The dawn of government experiments had arrived, and with it, a host of questions about what governments were willing to do in the name of national security. Scene script. Among the many rumored projects, one stands out, Project MKUltra. In the heart of the Cold War era, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States embarked on a clandestine operation like no other. The objective? Nothing less than the manipulation of the human mind. The code name for this venture was Project MKUltra. This was not some fanciful escapade plucked from the pages of a science fiction novel. This was real, and it was happening under the watchful eyes of the world's most powerful intelligence agency. The intent behind MKUltra was as audacious as it was terrifying. The CIA sought to develop techniques that could control human behavior, turning ordinary citizens into potential weapons. The methods employed in these experiments were as diverse as they were controversial. Drugs, most notably LSD, were used extensively. Hypnosis was another tool in the MKUltra toolkit, as the agency sought to unlock the deepest recesses of the human mind. Even more unsettling were the trials involving sensory deprivation and verbal and sexual abuse. The most startling aspect of MKUltra was perhaps its sheer scale. Over 100 projects were reportedly conducted under its umbrella, spanning more than a decade from the early 1950s to the mid-60s. The subjects of these experiments were often unwitting participants, their lives irrevocably altered by their involvement in this dark chapter of history. But the veil of secrecy could not remain intact forever. In the mid-70s, the Church Committee, a US Senate task force, exposed the existence of MKUltra. The public reaction was one of shock and disbelief. Could such a project really have been conducted by their own government? Yet, despite the scandal, many questions remain unanswered. How far did the experiments go? What long-term effects did they have on the subjects? And perhaps the most chilling question of all, could similar projects still be happening today? The revelations about MKUltra would forever change the way we perceive government experiments. But MKUltra was just the tip of the iceberg. There were others lurking beneath the surface. Let's dive into the shadowy waters of the rumored projects like Project Monarch and Project Bluebird. These are names that echo ominously in the clandestine corridors of alleged government mind control experiments. Project Monarch, a name that carries an unsettling resonance, is said to be a sophisticated extension of MKUltra. This project supposedly delves into the dark world of trauma-based mind control, aiming to create so-called Manchurian candidates. These are individuals allegedly programmed to perform tasks or even assassinations without any recollection of their actions. The secrecy shrouding Project Monarch is so dense it's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Then we have Project Bluebird, another name that flutters ominously in the undergrowth of these rumored experiments. Bluebird was supposedly the forerunner to MKUltra, said to have begun in the early 1950s. Sources whisper that it focused on finding ways to induce amnesia and new identities in subjects. These projects, if they indeed existed, supposedly employed a cocktail of methods from hypnosis and drugs to electroconvulsive therapy. The aim, to manipulate the mind, to control it, to turn it into a weapon or a shield, depending upon the whims of those in command. But remember, much of this information is speculative. It's like piecing together a puzzle where half the pieces are missing, and the other half may not even belong to the same box. Such projects, if they were real, would show us just how far some entities might go in their quest for power. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? The mind, our innermost sanctuary, potentially turned into a playground for those with the keys to its secret doors. The scale and scope of these projects, if true, present a chilling picture of the lengths governments may go in the name of national security. The echoes of these mind-controlled projects still reverberate today, but what does this mean for us? To begin, let's ponder the ethical dilemmas these experiments pose. What becomes of human rights when subjected to the seemingly boundless curiosity of those in power? The subjects of these projects were often unaware, their consent ripped away, their minds treated as playgrounds for the ambitious. The right to one's thoughts, to the sanctity of one's mind, is surely a basic human right. Yet these experiments suggest that such rights can be easily trampled upon in the pursuit of knowledge and power. This brings us to the question of governmental power. How much authority should a government wield over its citizens? The existence of these mind control projects seems to suggest that the boundaries are far more porous than we'd like to believe. The line between safeguarding national interests and infringing upon individual liberties blurs. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? The notion that those who are meant to protect us might also be the ones we need protection from. Moreover, these mind control projects raise questions about the nature of research and the limits of scientific exploration. At what point does the pursuit of knowledge become unethical? How do we balance the potential benefits of such research with the potential harm it could cause? These are questions we must grapple with as we continue to push the boundaries of what we know and how we learn. Let's not forget the psychological impact. on the subjects themselves. The trauma they must have endured, the violation of their minds, is something most of us can't even begin to comprehend. It's a grim reminder of how easily the human spirit can be broken, and how much we still need to learn about empathy and compassion. While we may never know the full extent of these projects, their legacy serves as a stark reminder of the dark corners of human curiosity and ambition.